Back in 2013, 2014, I became very passionate about living a more honest life when I came across a book by Jessica Alba called The Honest Life. I had just finished working several years as a child life specialist at Dell Children's Hospital. I worked on the hematology unit and the oncology unit there. And of course, when you work with children who have cancer, especially as young as 5 months old, 5 weeks old, some babies even got cancer in the womb, I started to become very curious about how is this happening? How is a child who's not even born yet, born with cancer, right? Tumors, gliomas, which are hand-shaped tumors that wrap around the spine on a fetus. And I began, doing a little bit of research, and I came across The Honest Life by Jessica Alba. That kind of spun into more reading, more research about chemicals, toxins, different things that we have in our bodies. There are some books about, living greener with a focus on the environment. And of course, that's a major focus of why I am green and why I choose a lot of more non-toxic options is to protect Mother Nature and be sure that we're being respectful of the environment. But a lot of the choices that I make are also about the well-being of myself as well as my children and keeping my family safe. And so when I speak about a greener option, sometimes it's not just about the planet. And a lot of people are going, okay, well, that's important. It is important. But sometimes when you speak to someone about being greener, they don't seem to think that they're one change or I'm just one person. It can't possibly save the planet, right? Which is kind of cuckoo because if everybody did one thing, like we would actually save the planet. But when I talk about being greener and you think about being green for yourself or being green for your family, it's a lot easier for people to make the switch. And protecting Mother Nature from toxins and pollution, also you end up helping yourself and helping your family, really at the same time. So I get asked sometimes, what are some things that I can do to be more green in my family? What are some of the more toxic options, toxic things that we use that maybe we don't even know that we use? And I could go on and on and on about things that are toxic in our lives and in our environment. But I think sometimes that can be very overwhelming for people. So I'll just tell you some of the basic things that I do in my home. And by the way, I just noticed my eyes are really red from swimming in the pool. That would be one of the things that we try to do greener. So we are members at our gym and we do swim in the pool, and my kids love being at the pool at our gym, but it is a chlorinated pool. I will say the chlorine pools are pretty toxic, right? Not super recommended to do every day. We do swim in our natural springs and creeks, oceans, lakes, pond, a lot more greener, cleaner options, way more often. I definitely do not want my kids on swim team being in a pool every single day because chlorine is highly toxic. So we do use the pool, but that's not the place that we go every single day. We do like to use the springs and things when we can. So anyway, that's where we were today. So as you can see, everything in moderation, right? But some big changes that we've made in our household since becoming more eco-friendly and more conscious about the toxins that we expose our bodies to. I would say probably the first switch for me was what I cook with and what I use to wrap my children's food in. And let me just show you kind of what I do. So let's start with the containers that I put their lunches in. So these right here, I actually forgot the brand, but if you just go on Amazon and just Google stainless steel kids lunches, I think is probably what I Googled, and I came across some stainless steel with a silicone lid. This is a better option than a Ziploc bag. Ziplocs are lined with BPAs, believe it or not, super toxic. Not only are they not green and they can just flood the landfills with plastics, which is of course not what we want. There's flyaways of plastics and so on. But this is safer to put your kids' food in, and they're reusable. But more importantly, it's the stainless steel so that you don't have any BPAs. It's just metal, right? These are their smoothie cups right here. This is by Cupkin, and it's just a miniature stainless steel cup. They're leak proof, and they've got a little straw, so that's what they have their smoothies in. And then I've got lunchbots. Lunchbots are what they put their lunches in, so I probably can't open one of these while I have the video up. Let's see how good I am at one-hand opening. Almost got it. Oh, let's see. Hold on one second. Ta-da! Okay. So now I can show you the lunch bot right here. So see, it's like a little bento box. Just Google like stainless steel bento boxes, because I'm not doing this post because I'm being sponsored by anybody. I'm doing this post just because I want mothers to know that there are better, healthier options. This is a snack wrap. This is by Itsy Ritsy. This you can wrap up hamburgers, pizza, sandwiches, anything. It's reusable, so it's good for the environment, but it's also not plastic wrap, not aluminum. We do not want aluminum foil. Oh my God, I hate aluminum foil. If a recipe calls for aluminum foil, I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna have to wing it and use something else. Aluminum seeps into your food when you use aluminum foil. Super toxic, like super toxic. We don't want metals in our body. We don't want metals in our teeth. We don't want metals in our vaccines. We don't want metals in our body, okay? Very, very toxic. Don't use that. Get away from the metals. These right here, these are reusable snack bags. These are by, let me think, Bumpkins. There's Itsy Ritsy. Oh, okay, so this is a Bumpkins wrap. Bumpkins. And this is Itsy Ritsy snack bag, and I think this is the Snack Happen. So there's like a bunch of sizes. You can use these, you can put these in the washer, like machine washable with like baking soda, and just rinse them out. Wash them in the machine, or flip them and rinse them out. Either way, you can do that. So I do not put any of my food in plastic. Like, you will never find plastic Tupperware in my house. I will never heat anything up in plastic. The BPAs seep through into your food. Another change that I made long time ago is I stopped buying paper towels. I cannot stand paper towels. It is so wasteful to like literally grab a paper towel, wipe your hands off with it, and throw it in the trash. And then you keep buying like more and more paper towels. And then you think of how many paper towels we go through as a society at restaurants and bars and shopping malls. And like, we're just overusers, when it would just be much greener and cleaner, not to mention safer for our skins and bodies, if we just use towels. And you know, my parents always come over there and like, oh, where are your paper towels? They get so annoyed. Just use a towel. Just wipe your hands on a towel, dry it with a towel. I have a ton of wash rags. And in fact, I was one of those like weirdos, those hippie moms that during COVID, when there was no toilet paper, I was like, that's not that big of a deal. We just use washcloths. I went and got a bunch of washcloths, and we just reused them over and over and over again. It's kind of like when we were a cloth diaper family, when my boys were really little, and you just machine wash them. It's really not that big of a deal. Another big change that we made a long time ago was switching our detergents. Please stay away from the really toxic detergents. Dreft is actually one of those like sneaky culprits that is highly toxic, but it's being marketed for young children and babies. But please don't use Dreft. It just like breaks my heart. It's super toxic. In fact, the most toxic things that we use, second to household cleaners, are baby products. And some of the big manufacturers are just not green. They're not clean. So not only are they bad for the environment, but they're bad for babies. They're using known neurotoxins in their products. And there's an app that you can actually download that's, I found, like super helpful if you're kind of overwhelmed with, oh my God, everything in my life is dirty. Go ahead and use it if you need to. Otherwise, if you can afford it, throw it out. Try to replace it with a greener option. Think Dirty is the name of the app. Just download it. What you do is you just scan the barcode of whatever product that you think you're gonna buy, and it kind of gives it like the dirty meter, and tells you like how dirty it is, what's probably in the product, what's gonna be bad for you. And then hopefully you can find another option. Luckily, there's options like all over the place. Like, you can just Google like green deodorant, natural deodorant. I personally like love native deodorant. It's the only one that I found that I love. And I love the vanilla coconut. If you want to know what I smell like vanilla coconut deodorant from Native. It's one of my favorites. I also love the Zum line. Jason's is another really good one. I buy all my products at Central Market or Whole Foods, or you can buy them on Amazon. There's just so many different options out there. There's really no reason that we need to be using toxic chemicals when we clean our clothes, wash our dishes, store our food, or what we put on our body. Hell, the makeup we use can be super toxic. Use a mineral-based sunscreen. Please, for the love of God, get rid of the aerosol sunscreens. I get sometimes like almost irritated when someone's just like spraying their sunscreen everywhere, and there's like a big line of people behind them, or everyone's trying to enjoy the pool, and we're like, well, that's because it's toxic, okay? The only person that's not coughing is the one that you're spraying it on, but you're spraying it on their skin. and it seeps into the skin and it gets in the bloodstream, and we're all breathing that in. Not to mention you're like burning holes in the ozone layer with your aerosol. There's a reason we don't use aerosol hairsprays anymore. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for people. We're inhaling all of these chemicals. And babies and kids are the most sensitive because their bodies are just like metabolizing at such a rapid rate. They're holding everything into their fats. They're holding everything into their bloodstream. And all we're doing is giving them like pollutants like every single day. So if you can make the switch, please buy, washcloths and towels instead of paper towels. You don't have to go the toilet paper route yet. I know baby steps for everybody, but please try to be greener. If you can do cloth diapers, if you can switch your household cleaners to something that's organic. And in fact, my partner asked me, well, if you don't use chemical cleaner to mop, what do you use? And I'm like, hot water and lemon. Like that's really like all we need. We don't need bleach. We don't need to bleach our homes. And in fact, household cleaners kill all of the germs, the household germs that are good for us. They're like actually good for your kids to have some germs in the house and not over clean. Isn't that a relief to find out like, oh my God, I don't have to like bleach and clean my house all the time? No, you don't. It's actually really good to have exposure to germs for those developing immune systems. Switch to stainless steel water bottles, switch to glass. Believe it or not, you can get glass baby bottles and glass water bottles, which are actually like the cleanest and safest options. And there's usually like a silicone sleeve that goes over the top of it that you can take off and wash and put it back on. It protects it from breaks and spills. I can't remember the name. I want to say it's like Life. Maybe it's a Life bottle or something like that. I'm so bad at these brands, but I know when I see it like, oh yeah, that's a green option. Check your local stores and boutiques and find out if they sell Lunchbots or Itsy Ritsy Snack Happens, anything reusable. We have reusable napkins at our dinner table. We have reusable washcloths and towels, of course. We have napkins in their lunch that are like really miniature reusable napkins that I purchased for them. We try to be as green and clean as possible. And the argument that I hear from a lot of people is, well, the FDA approved it. I'm like, well, the FDA approves a lot of things because they approve if a trace amount is in there of a toxin, they approve it, right? If the one amount, the one serving is good, then you're fine. But imagine if you do that trace amount in 4 different products a day, or what most of us do, 90 different products a day, we get a trace amount. And we do that every single day, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. So what we want to do is decrease our toxic exposure, protect Mother Earth at the same time, and take care of our children and families by being greener and being cleaner. Switch to organic when you possibly can. Certified organic. Pick the greenest option possible to protect yourself and your family. If you've not found my podcast yet, it's a little crunchy. Whole Heart Crunchy Parenting on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing. Be well.